Welcome back to Adobe and Chill. Happy New Year. A whole new year. And it is, damn it, March now. I actually had a few things that I was working on and recording while working. However, none of that footage saved to my hard drive. So here we are in March. And finally, my devices have agreed to comply. And our project for today is a campaign with Ohio Women's Alliance. This is for their Do the Work campaign, which launches on International Women's Day. So I definitely started this off camera.
I have a lot of questions. Number one, how dare you?
I wanted to have a general idea of what I wanted aesthetic-wise before I hit that record button. Sometimes when I hit that record button, I kind of freeze up because I feel like I'm being watched, because I am. So these moments right here are where I am taking my elements and dropping them into the canvas, placing a few here and there, just really trying to find my footing. So let's go over the brief. There were a few themes that needed to be incorporated. The more important of those themes were the color scheme, the use of pyramids and stars, and there also needed to be a flag created. So that is why I was kind of playing around with that pyramid, trying to figure out how I wanted to incorporate it. Eventually, I stepped away, played some Spiritfarer, came back with a whole new idea of how the flow and layout should be. Segue for just a bit. Anybody playing Spiritfarer? Let me tell you, that game just got real for me. I recently had to transition two spirits over to the afterlife. Messed me up, bruh.
Whew, okay.
Yeah, I'm a big softie, but it's a good game. I knew what I was getting myself into before I got there. And it's actually a very sweet way to acknowledge and process death. So if you're looking for a great way to unwind after a stressful day, I highly recommend Spiritfarer. Onward, let's talk about the placement. Now, instead of trying to use one pyramid as the focal point of the graphic and just segmenting it out and create different spaces, I decided to stack the models on top of each other and then create a serene space around them. Over the past few months, I've been using more symbolism in my work. Here with this piece, we're using the birds of paradise plant to represent freedom, the daffodil to represent rebirth and new beginnings, and the apple blossom to represent hope and good fortune. So these symbols were a great way to tie the themes together and the ideas. Also, the palette that I had to choose from was pretty dope. That sage green, it's a good color. It's nice and cool and soothing, and it's fresh. So it also drove home that point of freshness, a new start, new beginnings, and also pairing that with the yellow that I used eventually, it just worked great. Alright, so what I'm doing right here is cleaning up my apple blossom element. I'm going around and taking out unnecessary leaves, things I'm not going to need. I'm not going to need all this branch. I just really need the flower, so we're cleaning that up a little bit. I am also doing quick retouching to these photos, editing the lighting, and then also going in with the healing brush tool to take care of the hyperpigmentation and like unevenness in the skin, just so that it pops. We're not doing anything crazy here. We're not trying to like get rid of anything like that will take away from her appearance or anything, just cleaning up the skin. That's it. Here is where we're starting to add the watercolored effect in. I'm using a brush and using this like canary mustardy yellow. It complements that green so good. Like, I love this color. I think it's also important for me to mention that you can change the direction that your brushes are angled in. So that's what I'm doing here. I went into the properties and just tilted the brush so I could use it at a different angle. At this point, we're pretty close to completion. I'm going through my brushes just to see if there's like anything else that I can add that would complement the design and not take away from it. So like I have these halftones here, and I'm like duplicating this layer with the apple blossom just so that it's like in there more than that one time, so the reference is there and it, complements what we got going on so far. So the cool part about like working in Photoshop with layers is like you can undo some shit. So I'm in here trying to make this layer with this brush work, and I went in with like a mask and a few other brushes to dim it down in a certain way to where I got it to work for this graphic. So I like this program a lot because there's so much you can do. So plant people probably know this, but the Birds of Paradise plant has this very specific flower. Like when you see it, you know what that plant is. So I'm adding that in here so that it's like obvious what the plant is. Plus, the thing is gorgeous. Like it's beautiful. This is honestly so cringy to watch back because I know what's going on here. So I'm really just trying to figure out where this needs to go so that it complements what we have and isn't just randomly placed. I want to like make sure that it's placed with intention. So that's what you guys are seeing here. So now we're at this point where I need to make these pyramids make sense. I decided to duplicate it a few times and try to do a pattern with them. I eventually like nixed the pattern idea, but I do keep that 3 placement with the one facing up, one facing down, because that looks good, and I resize it so that it kind of fits in that pocket in the upper left corner. Oh, this is a very sweet spot where I grouped these dang pyramids together, really thinking that I'm going to make this pattern, really going to make fetch a thing.
That is so fetch. Gretchen, stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
It may be obvious to you, the viewer, that pairing of the pyramids, it ain't gonna work. But I need to see it first. I need to try it to be sure. So here's where I come around and realize my plan wasn't gonna work. So we adapted. After adapting, I realized resizing it and sticking it behind the leaves to like kind of make it appear as though it's tucked would look better. Was not wrong there. There are actually a few other things that kind of happen off camera. And I'm trying my best to keep these episodes as short as possible because after a while it's redundant. So what we'll do is go ahead and jump into the reveal so you guys can see what the finished campaign looks like.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone?
And here is the finished result. Let's quickly go over what happened off camera. We added in a flag. We added the logos in for the organization, the tag at the bottom. We changed the background so that it wasn't that cream yellow anymore. We have this like cool green to complement everything else. I also created the design for the flag. We used the same symbols that we used for the graphic itself. And we also incorporated the stars that were missing from the main graphic into the flag so that everything is tied together. Overall, I'm really pleased with the outcome, and I think coming back for the new year and Adobe and Chill, this is a great start. We're starting with a campaign, we're starting with something solid, we're starting with new things like incorporating symbolism and advancing a craft. So happy to have you guys on the journey with me as I figure things out, and also happy to have been considered for the work. So yeah, that's episode 3 now. Episode 3. Um, Come back next time. We're again not sure what we're gonna make, but I know it'll be something.